Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for your Leeds versus Wolverhampton Wanderers pre-match chat. As is always the case, please do smash a like on this video, get your comments in, hit the notification bell, and I implore you, I beg of you, I plead with you to subscribe to the channel because we are so close to 10k. Thank you so much for all the love and support that I've had over the last week or so. March has been a very good month for the channel. And we can see the wood through the trees, the light through the trees now as well from a Leeds United perspective after a fantastic result against Norwich City on Sunday. And we now look ahead to Wolverhampton Wanderers. And we have even more news to be happy about, to sing from the rooftops about, because of course, Calvin Phillips and Liam Cooper are both back in training and potentially both could be available for Friday night's fixture. When you include that with the fact that Patrick Bamford's now back, Rodrigo's come through unscathed, we now have ultimately like the full strength squad that we've always wanted throughout this season. Now, look, Gelhardt, Shackleton, Lewis Bate, they're all doubtful. And, I know people will be clamouring for Gelhardt to start after his performance, his couple of minute performance and getting that winning goal. But it is still a little bit too soon. Of course, we need to see more. So him not being there, okay, not ideal. But the fact that we have Calvin Phillips, Liam Cooper and Patrick Bamford all fit, ready, raring to go, full spine of the side. I expect Bamford to start and finish this game now. I think we'll see, Phillips and Cooper in little bits, but it's huge, and it can't be understated just how big of an impact, even if they weren't to play, just them being on the training pitch with the lads, being in the match day squad, being in and around it, not sat in the crowd like they were against Villa. Just being in and around it can't be understated, and I think it's a huge boost for Leeds United and their survival hopes. I do believe the win against Norwich, it's a massive step. It is a massive step, but we can't, rest on our laurels. We have to continue to perform. And I think we will get a performance on Friday. I think, again, much like the return of them players can't be understated, the manner in which we won that game on Sunday can't be understated as well. Joffrey came out in the post-match with Dallas giving it, we'll get something on Friday. We'll get something. I believe we will. We've just been talking about it in there. Maybe it's a little bit naivety from the youngster, but I get it. I think the way we won that game gives the players so much more confidence as opposed to winning the game routine 2-0 or winning that game 1-0 and seeing it out as a shutout and getting yourself a clean sheet. I think the fact that within a couple of minutes we went from doom to gloom, or from gloom to ecstasy. Doom to gloom's the same thing, right? But you get what I'm saying. And I think it could be huge. Massive. Just on Calvin as well, Jesse Marsh was speaking about him during the press conference and where he'll fit in. Of course, under Bielsa, he's been playing in the DM, just in front of the back four. We know that Jesse Marsh likes to go with a 4-2-2. And he's going to play in that double pivot. And Jesse Marsh actually likened it to the way that he plays for Gareth Southgate at England alongside Declan Rice. And he should be able to apply what he does alongside Declan Rice in the same system at Leeds United. I think for me, if he was to start, I'd love to see the double pivot of him and Click, him and Forshaw, whichever. Even from a defensive standpoint, I guess him and Forshaw would be exceptional. But I think Click's look the real standout for me in that double pivot, and him alongside Calvin in there. It'll be great. And if we can get anywhere close to the way that Calvin performs for England in that role, then we're good, aren't we? We're good. We know how good Calvin is in the single pivot, if you like, on his own. Under Bielsa, what will it look like in a two? If anything's to go by the England performances, if indeed it is going to be similar to that, which we would imagine it would in a double pivot, then we're going to be good to go. So that was interesting. And also, Jesse Marsh was speaking about his leadership group. It's certainly something that he'll have brought with him, and I can understand why he's done that. To get the buy-in of certain. It's a tactic. It's a clear tactic for him to come in and get the buy-in of certain professionals. And he spoke and actually named the players in that leadership group that he has. Liam Cooper, Luke Ayling, Adam Forshaw, Rodrigo, Stuart Dallas, Calvin Phillips and and Patrick Bamford, and we know that Jesse Marsch will go to that group, and ask for their opinion on certain situations within the football club. I just thought it was interesting just hearing him coming out and name checking them lads. We know that he'd asked Calvin to take more of a prominent role. I know we as Leeds fans, a number of us would love to see him captain the club one day, and maybe that'll be the next thing that he does. After Cooper and the rest of the lads, have hung up their boots. Just while we're on that as well, Stuart Dallas, who I was pretty scathing of after Villa and prior to Norwich, and I just want to put out my apologies. If he's starts, which he will, Mr. Consistent, he actually equals Lucas Radaby's appearance record at Leeds United this weekend or Friday night. So that's absolutely huge. And that is quite a mean feat, isn't it? When you consider when he came in and where he played right wing, I think it was Uwe Rosler, and it was just never working. And for him to now be a mainstay in the Premier League, I think he's only missed one game out of the last 117 or something like that. It's crazy. So big shout out Stuart Dallas. But of course we have to think about Friday's game and getting a positive result. I think a point would be absolutely massive, and I'd say that I'd snap your hands off for a point now. 0-0, 1-1, something like that. I don't see there being many goals in this game. I struggle to see Leeds United coming away with 3 points. I can't lie, just because Wolves are so good and well set up, and they're a fantastic side. I mean, Jesse Marsch said himself, he said they're incredibly well coached, they defend well, move the ball well, and have a lot of clarity in the way they play. He said he's excited about the challenge. It is going to be a challenge. I think the game won't be a spectacle. It's not something I'm looking forward to, if I'm being totally honest. And look, the first goal, as is always the case, I think, for Leeds United, but more so in this game, is crucial, because if Wolves get it, then it's probably game over. And I know that's harsh, because if we concede after 10 minutes, and I'm doing a watch along, the reason I say this is because Wolves, when they go in front, and Jesse Marsch said it as well, he said not going behind in the game will be really important because they don't give much away. And I think the loss they had to Arsenal after going in front was like the first time in years since they'd actually lost from a winning position. I think Lacazette scored in the last minute. We know Wolves' tactics. They've got a lot of wily characters in there. They defend really well, resolutely. They're so hard to break down, playing with the three centre-backs. And then when they do go in front, they like to spoil. They like to waste time. And look, it's a clear tactic that they use, and it's proved dividends for them. At the end of the day, they're fighting for Europe, and as I say, it's the first time in years they've actually lost from a winning position. So they will be a tough nut to crack. Now in a little bit of form as well, having back-to-back victories, and both games to 0 as well, keeping clean sheets in both them. Prior to that, they'd suffered 3 straight league defeats. And that came after that Arsenal one. Maybe it was a bit of a shock to the system for them, a bit of a chink in their armour. Oh wow, we can actually lose games when we go in front, and they lost 2 subsequent games, but now are back on the winning trail, winning the last 2 games to 0. They have been inconsistent at home though, winning 3 and losing 2 of their last 5. So they're not bulletproof. But look, they've been one of the best defensive sides in the division this season. We've struggled to keep clean sheets. We've struggled to score away from home. So I think to expect Leeds United to win the game, it may be a little bit too much. Of course, it'd be huge, and we can win any game. But I think the best we could hope for in this game would be a point. I take 0-0. I genuinely would, and that's a bit of a mad one, but it's just a change now, isn't it? Bielsa's no longer here. We have a new manager. I look at it differently, and I think 0-0 would be a decent result, and a point would be huge, and that's okay as well. Know that if Wolves go in front, I think they'll probably see out the game. If we go in front, there is still the possibility that they peg us back, and it's 1 apiece. So I think a draw is the best we can hope for in this. Of course, you never cannot win a game of football, but I think a draw would be best. If we won, it'd be huge step towards survival. Of course, Newcastle play Everton tonight as well, which is huge. So all eyes on that. But yeah, look, from how will the sides line up? Well, as I say, Wolves will line up with five at the back, that back three of Size, Cody, and Max Kilman. Kilman had a great season, wanted by Chelsea by all accounts. Look out for him. Aitanuri at left wing back, Johnny at right wing back. Your midfield two then will be Neves and Dendonka, maybe Moutinho. Jimenez leading the line, of course, and either side of him will be Daniel Podence and Pedro Neto. Neto and Podence, I mean, unreal players. So going forward, Wolves can cause us all sorts of problems. And as I said, they're so solid to break down as well. From a Leeds United perspective, 4-2-2, as I say, Ayling at right back, your centre backs will stay the same, Llorente and Strauch, Dallas at left back. I believe the two sitting will be Forshaw and Click. I'm hoping Bamford will lead the line with Rodrigo in behind him, and then James and Rafinha on either side. I think that would be what we could hope for. Look, I'd love to see Calvin starting. I'd love to see Cooper starting, but I just don't think it'll be the case. So yeah, we will see them at some point, depending on how the game develops. But remember, we do have as well an international break after this one. So, if we can get a point from this into the international break, having got 4 from the last 6 available, that would be huge. And we can start to think, right, okay, when we come back, we've got Southampton, we've got Watford, these are winnable games for Leeds. These are winnable games. And the end of the season could have a totally different look to how we've been feeling over the last few weeks. What I don't want to see is a dud performance, like we've seen against Villa. As long as we're competitive, like the Leicester game, and if we lose, that's fine, because Wolves are a great side. They're challenging for Europe. If we get a point, huge. If we win, I mean, scenes. But you know what I mean? This game sort of won't define us in terms of the running, because Wolves are a good side. But they have been inconsistent. They have, prior to these last 2 wins, lost 3 on the bounce. They are not impenetrable. So maybe we can cause an upset, because that's what it'd be. And Bamford hopefully sees the full game and can get us in front, and we win the game 1-0. Fingers crossed that will happen, but we'll have to wait and see. But thank you as always for watching the Just Joe Football Show. Thanks for watching my videos. Smash a like if you can. Subscribe, get your comments in, and make sure you join me for the watch along as well tomorrow night, because I'll be doing that. And we've had some crazy numbers, so thank you for all your support, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds.